Imagine this. You're proud of the life you've made for yourself. You've worked hard and given up things, and now success is starting to show up in your life. Now, as you rise, though, you notice something creepy. The people around you change. Some people pull away, others act passive-aggressively, and still others' eyes show that they are secretly angry. This is the shadow of jealousy hiding in the minds of those who wish they had what you possess. At first, their actions seem very delicate, almost impossible to notice. A reaction that is a little slow to your good news, a forced smile, or a comment that seems a little too sharp. Then, as time goes on, their behaviors become more obvious. They start to play down your accomplishments, talk badly about you behind your back, or even try to stop you from doing what you want to do. This slow unraveling of their true feelings is often painful to watch, yet it is a truth many must face as they strive toward personal and career growth. The old Stoics, who were very good at controlling their anger and being wise, paid close attention to jealousy. They knew that envy was a disease of the mind, a fire that burned the soul of the one who held it. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all spoke of it in different ways, but the core idea stayed the same. Anger is a poison, and those who drink it harm themselves more than anyone else. A jealous heart is a restless heart, one that seeks approval from outside sources, one that aches when another wins, and one that imprisons itself in the illusion of comparison. The modern world has increased this problem. Social media, quick satisfaction, and the ever-present highlight reels of other people's lives have made jealousy a near-constant presence. The Stoics would tell us that the fault does not lie in the success of others, nor in their curated presentations of their lives, but in our own responses to them. We must ask ourselves, why does another's success feel like a threat? Why do we allow jealousy to affect our view of ourselves and our progress? But how do we spot jealousy? How do we protect ourselves from its grasp? More importantly, how do we make sure we do not fall victim to it ourselves? Recognizing jealousy, whether in others or within our own hearts, is the first step to mastering it. The next step is learning how to react, how to rise above it rather than be dragged down by it. This guide will reveal the obvious signs of jealous people, how they operate, and how the Stoics teach us to rise above this harmful emotion. This is not just a matter of philosophical thought, it is a practical guide to living with knowledge and perseverance in a world where envy is ever present. Chapter 1. The subtle signs of jealousy. Jealousy does not always announce itself with a big explosion. It often works in words, in seemingly small actions that show deeper anger. A sideways glance when good news is shared, a delayed congratulation, or a forced smile. These are often the earliest signs that jealousy is taking root. It hides beneath feigned politeness and is hidden by social niceties, but its presence is undeniable to those who watch closely. The Stoics thought that knowing human nature was key to mastering oneself, and in order to guard against jealousy, we must first learn to recognize its signs. They taught that envy is born from an unhealthy comparison, a belief that another's success somehow lowers one's own worth. Those who are driven by jealousy do not see success as inspiration, but as a personal attack on their ego. The jealous mind works in inconsistencies. It equally admires and resents, wants and despises. A jealous person might praise someone openly while privately hoping for their failure. They might offer praise, but only through tightened teeth. The Stoics tell us that while we cannot control the jealousy of others, we can control our responses to it. By keeping emotional detachment, spotting the patterns of envious behavior, and refusing to be swayed by the anger of others, we protect our inner peace. Chapter 2. The Root of Jealousy. A Stoic Analysis. Why does jealousy exist? What causes a person to look at another's success and feel anger instead of inspiration? The Stoics saw jealousy as the result of distorted thinking, an attachment to outward approval, and a false belief in scarcity. It emerges when individuals think that another's gain is their own loss, as if success were a limited resource. This attitude leads them to measure their worth through the lens of comparison rather than through self-improvement and ethics. A jealous person does not merely see success in others. They feel it as an attack on their own self-worth. This response is based in an insecurity that has little to do with the one who is successful and everything to do with the one who harbors the jealousy. The Stoics understood that such a feeling stems from external dependencies, the belief that happiness and satisfaction come from status, respect, and control over events. When people tie their sense of worth to how they rank in comparison to others, they set themselves up for pain. This is why jealousy is often followed by dissatisfaction. No matter how much a person achieves, if they measure success by comparison, they will always feel that someone else is ahead. Chapter 3. How jealousy manifests in actions. Jealousy does not stay hidden forever. It simmers beneath the surface, affecting thoughts and forming behaviors, often in ways that are subtle at first, but grow more pronounced over time. What begins as silent anger or internalized hatred eventually seeks a release, and when it does, it frequently emerges in damaging ways. A jealous person may initially mask their envy through forced politeness, passive-aggressive comments, or seemingly harmless jokes. But as their feelings increase, their behavior becomes more apparent, and sometimes even damaging. Recognizing these trends is crucial, as uncontrolled jealousy can lead to strained relationships, toxic interactions, and even outright sabotage. The Stoics warn against letting external forces, including the jealousy of others, to upset our inner peace. They teach that by watching the behavior of those around us with knowledge and emotional detachment, we can protect ourselves from the negative effects of jealousy while keeping our own composure. Chapter 4. The Stoic response to jealous people. Once we recognize jealousy, how do we respond? The Stoics offer timeless advice on how to keep inner peace despite the negativity of others. They teach us that our reaction to envy should not be one of revenge, anger, or resentment, but rather one of knowledge, composure, and a steadfast commitment to virtue. The first step in dealing with anger is to understand that it is not truly about us. It is a mirror of the insecurities and problems of the envious person. The Stoics tell us that we are responsible only for our own thoughts and deeds, not for the emotions of others. We must not take their jealousy personally, nor allow it to upset our calm. Instead, we must view it as an external event, one that has no fundamental power over us, unless we choose to let it affect us. Chapter 5. Guarding against jealousy. Within ourselves. The final lesson is perhaps the most important, ensuring we do not become jealous ourselves. For controlling our own feelings is the key to inner peace. It is easy to spot jealousy in others, but far more difficult to admit it within ourselves. Jealousy can disguise itself as desire, drive, or even fairness, telling us that our anger is justified. Yet the Stoics tell us that true happiness comes not from measuring our lives against others, but from maintaining our own ideals. To prevent jealousy from taking root in our minds, we must develop self-awareness, thankfulness, and a strong sense of self-worth. We must train our brains to seek fulfillment through self-improvement rather than through outward validation. When we compare ourselves too often to others, we forget that each person's journey is unique, shaped by events beyond our control. Instead of allowing envy to control our thoughts, we must redirect our attention inward, asking, am I living according to my values? Am I growing in knowledge and discipline? The Stoics teach us that happiness is found in control over our desires, not in the fleeting winds of comparison. Conclusion. Jealousy is a thief of joy, a needless burden that blinds people to their own potential. The Stoics tell us that real success is not about being ahead of others, but about moving forward on our own road with integrity and wisdom. By cultivating thankfulness, reflecting on our progress, and focused on self-improvement, we gradually break free from the chains of envy. The true measure of success is not how we compare to others, but how steadfast we stay in our quest of knowledge and virtue. This is the way to lasting satisfaction and inner peace. Let their quiet competition stay theirs alone. Your real foe should only ever be the person you were yesterday. Jealousy is a universal feeling, but how we react to it shapes our character. If you've ever felt envy from others or within yourself, remember, real power lies in self-mastery, not comparison. Here's what you can do next. Reflect. Focus on your own progress, not others. Write down one thing you're proud of. Practice gratitude. List 3 things you're grateful for daily. It's the answer to jealousy. Share. Have you dealt with jealousy? Share your story in the comments to motivate others. Subscribe. If this connected with you, hit subscribe for more advice on living a resilient, happy life. Spread the message. Share this movie with someone who might need it. Remember, jealousy is an evil, but you have the power to rise above it. Stay focused on your path, and let your deeds speak louder than anyone's desire. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.